amazing. I'm really pumped for this final.
Ramos puts it through, Solid Suarez! Oh, is in dominant form. A chance, it's going to go in. Oh my lord, ladies and gentlemen, could it happen?
There is the team, as you can see, full of, well, really the usual suspects, I think we can say by now.
Yeah, going 4-3-3, almost a flat 4-3-3 as well. Using the Messi up front, getting Ronaldo, the good old 99 Ronaldo, probably team of the year. I think we'd expect to see almost team of the year Ronaldo and Messi in just about every team. Generally, you have Bale in there. Obviously, you can switch wings, do whatever they're going to do. We'll see whether they make any changes at kickoff. They will do, okay. This is kind of what we expected. Basically, this is all about, obviously, the chemistry balance that's been locked in at the start, then immediately changed the formation. I didn't think we were going to see a flat 4-3-3, so he switches to a 4-2-3-1 setup, and that is going to throw Ronaldo up front. Kind of an expected change in there, and then he just sets it out. So we're seeing a relatively standard defensive setup. We generally always see Chris Smalling in there. He's got Ramos in there, though. Obviously, maybe he's starting to creep his way in. We saw a lot of Boateng, pretty much predominantly, throughout the season one, so maybe Ramos is going to make an appearance now after Real Madrid doing so well.
I think we should note as well, you know, how the chemistry works in this one. Obviously, at kickoff, you want to have the best possible chemistry. You want to be hitting 100, each individual player on 10 chemistry. Once the game actually, you know, goes live almost, as we are now, you can switch that around without having a penalty. So we saw already there some changes coming in. We saw Hazard brought in. And so that means that you can basically have a bit more fluidity to work with once you've kicked off. So here we go then. Our first game of the day and of the tournament. And expecting a fairly slow start to this one as the players just kind of feel each other out. Now, get used to being on stage once again. Both of these guys, of course, did feature in Sydney, so they're no stranger to the setup that we have around. But nonetheless, tournament pressure is certainly a real thing.
Yeah, and of course, just point out, SAMER is playing in the blue, of course. I believe the Chelsea kid, actually. Just a check on there. And Sony in the yellow, playing from right to left. So, who is going to get themselves the first goal? So, Mane coming on, actually, for SAMER. And actually, if I remember rightly, it's Sony that said I think he's one of his favourite players, Mane, and he reckons he's quite overpowered in the game, you know.
I know for a fact that Boy is a huge fan of that Mane card. I'm sure he'll touch on that one a little bit later and the strengths of it there. And we do see Kante going to knock it into the middle, almost getting it through there. That could have been the opening for Sony, but SAMER managing to get it away. Now he's got a bit of a break on the top side with Bale.
Yeah, but he's got a Karine cut inside. You can see a little good drag back there from Kyle Walker. Solid, strong right back. One of the players that almost every team tends to rotate between him, and maybe even throw Marcelo out there sometimes, switch him on the opposite wings. We've seen him in midfield as well, but we'll get to that as and when it comes. Suarez, there's a little dance, tries to switch things around. Pogba, of course, we saw trying to do that overhead kick for Man United in real life, getting himself a bit of dominant role in the midfield here.
Chance though here for SAMER to break through. Tries a through ball there, but again, strength at the back will get the better of him. And Sony clears out. Bit messy there, in all fairness, and it does land, funnily enough, to the feet of Messi, but again, We see Pogba coming out, taking the ball off him, and now there's space on his top side. Through ball, though, not going to quite find its target.
Yeah, and talking about Marcelo, you can see he's actually being used in the midfield, I believe, by SAMER. So I'll keep my eye on positions they're going to use in this one, of course. We are on the PlayStation, so Legends are not allowed. They're on the Xbox. We'll get to that as and when we come in a little bit later. But as it is, a very tentative opening 20 minutes of the game here. Still no real shots, no real danger, as Bale tries to slide a ball through for Ronaldo, but it's cut out. And Jordi Alba being played on the left wing there for Sony. I think we only saw him like once or twice in Season 1. We didn't see him too often, but when we did, he was fairly successful. As it is, Sony just happy to casually play it around and switch the ball, switch the opposite wings.
Yeah, had that informed card since then, I think. And that's going to be interesting, just the slight variations, just depending on recent releases, of course. As you see there, Messi got 3 men ahead of him. Will actually lay it off here to Mane, who can't quite get past his last man, and that's a nice little slide out, just preventing the corner there in the last second.
Yeah, so 25 minutes gone. Still nothing so far. Messi can't get the ball through. Taken off for a corner, though. First corner of the game. Here we go. SAMER, see what he can do. Is he going to go for the inside post? There's no one really there. I can see Bale's trying to edge in for it. Doesn't look like it. He's going to try and run it through. He's got Messi just off to the side. See if he can try and drag it through. He's trying to pull the defenders out of the box and make a little room for himself. Kante plays it back, but Messi on Messi action there. And there's only ever going to be one winner. It's Sony this time that breaks away.
Knocks it down there to Messi. That's a great little through ball. Nice little slide in the end, though. Will go back to Butland and keeps things safe. And maybe a chance for the break here. Ronaldo now, he's got a couple of men to beat, but couldn't quite get past them. And a bit of a let-off there, you might say, for Sony. Regains possession now. He'll try and keep a hold of the ball for as long as he can. And Suarez eventually down to Messi, who's going to be dispossessed, and no foul given for that one. And now the break is possibly on for SAMER.
Trying to push it away again, Sony working it so well. Trying to cut inside. Got a good through ball for Messi. Gets himself a shooting chance. Has to try and drag it back. He's going to get the shot away. Ronaldo, top corner. Brilliant finishing from the man that scored so many for Real Madrid in the week. And, well, it was Messi that set him up.
Perfect finish as well. Top corner, not a lot the keeper's going to be able to do about that in that position. And that is Sony, the man that we called as the possible favourite for the tournament overall after that second place in the Season 1 regionals in Sydney. Gets off to the start that he's been looking for here in the early stages of the group. Of course, groups of 4, so you've got to play 3 games, 1 against each opponent, and those top 2 go through. Here's a chance, though, with Kante. Where's he going to go from here? Tries to get it back off to Messi, but the pass wasn't accurate. Will, in the end, fall to Sony, who might have a chance to break, but again, the through ball, just a little bit too much on him.
Yeah, Ronaldo nearly managed to drag it in there, of course. Getting a little glimpse on it. There's the controls, of course. So it's interesting to see the different grips. The monkey grip that's just been used by quite a few people, just hooking it around. Nobody using it at the moment. That's going to be a good chance, though. Deflected, blocked out. It's back to Messi. And now Kante clears his danger. Back to Jordi Alba. Down the left wing. So the first real chance we saw for SAMER there, but this is a real good breakaway. He's looking for Ronaldo. Ronaldo in the middle of the box. He's got to cut it in. Now he's made space. You can see he tries to walk it through. Alba across to Pogba. Not going to go for a long ranger. Hazard puts it back into Pogba. Can't slide it through. A little too intricate there, Joe.
May have a break here as well now. Could he get the equaliser? Was Mane into the feet of Messi, who's held on to this one nicely. He tries to slide it through, but again, defender there just a little bit quicker, and just as quickly as that attack has started, things switch around. As I think that was his own defender taking him out there. Down onto Messi on his bottom side. He's going to try and pull it back. It's out, though. Just had a little bit too much on it.
Too fancy.
And it's a goal kick.
Tried to get a little too fancy, didn't he? Went just that little bit too far. Okay, intricate. Interesting play. Giving Butland a bit of a run out with the ball. Ooh, that's a tricky throw out. Messi and Ronaldo sniffing for it. Now Kyle Walker. He's really struggling to get out of his own half at the moment. Walker up to Mane. Mane, of course, in real life out. Injured for the rest of the season with Liverpool. Unable to get himself any more games. But Sony so far leading 1-0 and looking pretty confident for it. I mean, it's not exactly a exciting first half, not exactly peppered with shots, let's put it that way.
No, not really, but I think you expect that from the first tournament game. You know, both of these players, as you said, you like to get comfortable. You know, they've had their warm-up here, they've had a couple of practice games in the hot seat, if you like, but still, it takes you a little bit of time to get over those initial nerves, and I think that's especially when you play a little bit slower, just to stop any of those little mistakes that I think at this level of the game, just a tiny mistake that we might not be able to turn into a chance. These guys will certainly collapse on completely and score from it.
I think we were starting to see Sony starting to dominate the match as well. That looked like just towards the end. He was struggling to get it out of his own half, SAMER. So he's got a bit of a problem. He needs to try and figure something out, maybe even change tactics in the second half.
Yeah, not sure if he was even just trying to keep a hold of possession there at the end, just to get the first half out of the way, just stay, all right, I'm 1-0 down, but let's just make sure that we don't make any further mistakes at all and keep things safe so that we don't go 2-0 down right on the break of half-time.
Absolutely. Well, you've heard what we had to say. Let's have a listen to what Spencer has to say at half-time.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so my job today is very much to be your eyes and ears in all the other games that are going on, okay? We want to update you on what's been happening in the game you're not seeing, and there's lots of games happening. I actually want to talk about something from a game in the same group you guys are covering right now between Rico Suarez and Nuno Jai, okay? Fantastic goal. So Rico is playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. He's got a very special David Luiz item at the heart of his midfield in that CDM role, but he can do a lot going forward. He's got a high attacking work rate. Let's take a look at what that means when the ball falls to David Luiz in the right area. So he picks it up here, right foot, what a strike. If you've got a CDM that can pull that out, very, very helpful. I mean, shoot, talk about that item. Just how good is it?
Well, it's the 90 SBC David Luiz, and the reason why you want to get this item is the shooting, 80 shooting, 92 shot power, 88 long shots. When you have a CDM that can do that, you got to hit one from distance. The shooting is almost as good as the hair. It costs a lot to get that SBC, but let me tell you, I got it in my club. It's absolutely worth it. It's like having a second Pogba in your team. If you have him, you got to use him. I think we're going to see him a lot in this tournament.
Definitely, especially when all the players are available for these guys to use. He's got Kante next to him, a beautiful little partnership, so we'll look out for more, maybe from David Luiz in the rest of the day. Let's go back to Joe and D-Man.
Thank you very much, guys. And, well, I think we're going to be seeing more David Luiz throughout today. And as we heard Chuboy mention there, you have to take a shot when you're in a position like that with him. Absolute beast.
I thought you were going to talk about his beautiful hair for a moment there.
We'll leave that for later. That's another topic which we'll definitely need to touch on. The power of his hair is certainly playing a fact into some of his stats, I think.
Absolutely. And, of course, we saw a great shot like that. We saw so many of those in Miami. And that's what I was wondering, talking about, obviously, the different styles of play that we may well see. Maybe a cagey defensive display, which is kind of what this has been so far. As you mentioned earlier on, it is the first group game. You would expect them to be a little bit tense affairs. Sony, though, starting to look pretty comfortable. He's got his opening goal. That's what he was all about. Wanted to get that opening goal, settle his nerves, and suddenly he started to turn on the defensive display. Sarge, however, needs to start getting in the mindset. Obviously, he picked up just the one win when we were over in Sydney. Now, if he wants to get out of the groups, he knows that Sony is going to be the big fish in this group. He knows he's the guy to beat. He's really got nothing to lose now. He just needs to go for it in this game.
Well, I mean, even picking up a point here, taking a draw off the group favourite could be a way to really propel yourself through. As you mentioned, he didn't quite make it out of the groups in Sydney. So this is a chance for him to pump up his game, if you like, just give him that little bit of extra. I think taking a point from Sony, from the group favourite, would certainly be a great start to his campaign.
We've seen it before. I mean, just look at the Bullock back in Paris, obviously taking down Huge Gorilla. These big shocks can happen, even when there's against the favourite in the group. So we'll see how this second half works out. SAMER, though, he's got a lot of work cut out here, and he's on the attack already, trying to get things early, maybe try and catch him off guard. Sony, obviously, maybe just having a little rest in that half-time, a little figure out, and maybe try and catch him with his guard down and get an early goal.
Well, we'll see about that one. He currently has possession. Nice little ball there into the feet of Messi. Tries to drag it back, but there is Smalling. We talked a lot about him in Season 1, and he'll likely continue to feature in, I'd say, most of the teams that we will be seeing here today. Here's a nice little run from Mane up on this top side. It was Alba that came in, though. Will knock it out. But that is a throw-in for SAMER, so he's in a decent position here to make something happen.
Yeah, see if you can box him in. Doesn't look like he can get it to Messi, but that's been cleared. Sort of just more like hoofed than quality clearance. But this has given him a possible counter-attack chance here. Pogba slipped through, holds it up nicely, tries to slip it through to Hazard, but SAMER not falling for that. Sony just testing the waters once again, and we'll see whether SAMER now can get it out of his own half as he works it to Marcelo. Marcelo down the left wing into Ronaldo. This partnership obviously born and bred in Real Madrid, but here in the FIFA Ultimate Team you can have just about any player you would like, any player available, if of course you can get that card. In which case, in this team, they can. Oh, that's a big mistake. Nearly slipped it through. Wow. That's some calm, cool defending. When you make an error like that, suddenly you start panicking and hitting the buttons.
Well, messing around in your own box is something that might show confidence, might also be a mistake for you. And there's very, very nearly an equalising chance there for SAMER, who's done a great job of holding possession. Pass accuracy must be around about that 100% mark at this stage of the second half. That's going to be a foul. And a nice little position here for the free kick. What's he going to do with it? Will he send it straight in there, or is he going to bring a second man in?
Looks like he wants to cut it to the edge of the box. So he's going to try and curl it in for a header. Nearly got lucky. Didn't quite fall for him, though. Switched defensive play, though. Bale gets Messi. We've seen Messi hitting him from the outside the box as well, so you've got to be careful. He's in a position where he can take a shot on. He lays it off nicely. Real chance here. Pogba lays it in, and that is an equaliser for SAMER, and exactly what he was looking for.
And we talked about it at half-time that, you know, 1-1 here, a point for SAMER is what he's going to be aiming to achieve straight away. But now he's in a position where, quite honestly, he could just win this game, and that would be the first upset that we see of the tournament. Pogba with the equaliser there. He's passed it around brilliantly on the edge of the box. He's able to drive it down into that bottom right-hand corner. That leaves us now at 1 apiece. I think about 65 minutes gone of this one. But now, look at this. Straight off the kickoff, Sony going in. Actually, we'll keep possession of this. There's a man down for him in the middle. And in the end, SAMER able to clear this one away. And let's see how Sony's affected by that equaliser.
Well, he tried to immediately get straight back, and that's always the danger. Obviously, you've just scored a little lapse of concentration, maybe let it through, but if he's broke this deadlock now, he had gone defensive, as you mentioned. He's just needs to try and get himself back in this attacking mentality, and that's exactly what he's doing. Walker finds Ronaldo into Pogba in the middle, looking for that through ball. Wasn't available. Kante, of course, ever present in the midfield, tries to keep things going, but it's a counter chance here. Messi, can he get the through ball? No, not quite going to slide it past Ramos.
Possession back then with Sony, trying to get himself that lead back. Nice little bit of fancy footwork from Hazard into the feet of Ronaldo. This is a dangerous position now with those skills on the edge of the box. Oh, he could have possibly gone past two there. Gets it in though to one, back to Ronaldo, and there it is, Sony, just like that. Brilliant possession work just inside of the box, finds his way through, and it's Ronaldo who will put him back into the lead here at 2-1.
Brilliant fancy footwork, wasn't it? The little drag backs, everything on display there. Ronaldo, of course, 5-star skills, just about everything at his disposal, and Sony making full use of the drag back there, working it wonderfully in the box. I think it was Kante that set him up as well, wasn't it? A close little pass there. So 2-1, Sony back in the lead. 15 minutes to go in this game in regulation time. And SAMER once again has the pressure on his shoulders. Down a goal. Let's see if he can try and pull something back. Messi tries a few drag backs of his own, not to be outdone. Kante back through. Messi tries to make himself available, but he's got to go back to Chris Smalling, using those defenders on the halfway line. Tries to slip a ball through in the edge of the box, finds Ronaldo, turns, makes space, and that is a great goal for SAMER. We're right back in it at 2-2.
Well, you can see what it means to him there as well. Managing to level it up, and again, it was super calm, super collected there on the edge of the box. Turns past one and just rifles it off into the bottom right. De Gea, no chance really on that one. He's already moving off to his left-hand side. And that at 2-2 now. Is that going to be enough to seal the point? 78 minutes gone with that goal. Still plenty of time, though, for another couple.
Yeah, time to defend if you're SAMER, time to attack if you're Sony, and that's what he may try and do, but he's got to be careful he doesn't catch himself out here. Back to the keeper. Now Mane down the right wing. Haven't seen a great deal from Sadio Mane, have we? on that wing. It's been really much Messi and Ronaldo's show. That's a long ball forward that De Gea will pick up every day of the week. Long throw out, almost intercepted. Not exactly the cleanest pass, and that's a tricky one with a man on his back. Into Ronaldo now. Ronaldo tries a little through ball. Can't quite get it past the defence as Marcelo plays it back down the left wing. Marcelo finds Hazard. That's a good ball, slipped in through. Bale can chase, looking for the cross. He may try and cut inside, but wow, forceful defensive work. A little too forceful for the referee's likeness.
And we've seen already free kick given away in a similar position before. This one a little closer to the edge of the box. Cheeky little chip in, almost finding the head. It does fall nicely there to Pogba, but in the end will be hoofed away by Sony. And that will, in the end, go out for the throw. 85, almost 86 minutes on the clock. And SAMER, I have to feel, will be happy with this result, considering the strength of his opponent. Trying to just break through there was shoulder barge and knock the ball out of play himself. It's looking like we could be ending this one with the first tie here that we've seen on screen.
And of course, coming from a goal behind every time, it's such a big confidence boost for SAMER coming into this one. Obviously, didn't get out of groups before, coming up against one of the favourites, managing to come back from behind twice. It's such a confident play for him, and now he may just try and go for it. You know what? There's just a couple of minutes on the clock. Try and loop one forward, maybe. Wasn't to be though. Hazard cuts it out. Pogba. That's a poor pass. There's a bit of a misplayed pass, and that's give a big chance for SAMER. That's big errors in the middle of the field. We're just 3 minutes added up time. Gareth Bale, not a great deal of energy left. Has to pass it away to Kante. Kante's got Messi in the middle. Finds Ronaldo. Ronaldo tries to find space to Kante. Messi tries to pass the ball through. Pogba finds him. Mane available. Oh, blocked out in the end for a corner.
Well, last second attempt here. He's going to take this one short by the looks of things. Switching off
Inside post header maybe.
There. Here we go. Managing to get down the line with Mane. Does try and give it back, but it was all just a little bit too fancy there. Sony will hold on, gets the ball away, and it will finish a draw, 2 apiece. As we said, for Sony, a solid start, but you have to feel for SAMER, that was the absolute best result they was probably looking for in this one. 2 apiece, gets the first point.
Absolutely, and he was looking attacking at the end there. He was looking better than Sony, honestly, in that second half. He's the guy that was chasing the game and then starting to look dangerous. Sony, meanwhile, had really only had 2 big breaks and scored 2 goals, whereas SAMER was constantly pressuring.
Yeah, and a great possession game from him as well. I mean, we saw there a possible last chance at the end to go ahead, but just was all a little bit too fancy for him. As we said, they're a point apiece, so this group remains wide open. That's what we like to see. But as we talk about this one, let's have a look at some of these other games that have been going on.
Yeah, of course, that's an easy tap in. Suarez will take that every day of the week. Easy thing. That's baby Justin Law, that one. Managing to get himself a goal. But there's the equaliser. Straight away, of course, he's playing Jan Villam. Jan Villam played in Sydney. So that game looks like it ended with a draw, 1-1. 2, I would say, defensive error goals. It's safe to say. When you see a bit of a goal-mouth scramble, you can't really blame anyone else other than the defence.
Or the keeper sometimes. Who knows from that one.